It's a delight to know that you have chosen CRTV News in order to watch this amazing literary program, The Book with Suzy. Today we are flipping through the pages of Kenyan-English, English-Kenyan Bilingual Dictionary. You may well want to know that it is a book which serves as a reference work that consolidates words commonly used by Kenyan speakers. We are glad to receive one of the authors in this studio, Professor George ECHU. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
So how are you doing?
I'm doing fine.
Well, it's good to know that you're doing fine.
Yes.
Well, to begin with, who are those who speak the Kenyan language in the Cameroon?
The Kenyan language is spoken in the Manu division of the Southwest region, and is spoken by the majority of people in Manu division, spoken in 3 subdivisions of the division. So you can well understand that it is a very important language. And that is why very often, although there are other languages spoken in this division, like Ejagam, but very often people refer to people from Manu division as Bayangi people. Those Bayangi, the Bayang people who speak the Kenyan language.
Okay. When exactly did you nurse that idea to write a dictionary? Let me put it that way.
Yes, this idea has been going on in my mind for more than 10 years. At a certain time, I realized that as a linguist, I had to do something for posterity. I had to do something for my own language. Having done research in other areas like bilingualism, sociolinguistics and other things, I realized that it was important to do something for my own language so that at least I would leave a legacy. And I realized that the Kenyan language, although it is now timidly taught in some schools, we do not have a reference document like a dictionary to facilitate teaching, to facilitate learning. And therefore, I realized that it was important to put this project, into motion. And that is how I brought together a group of people. There is Professor Matambu, who is a professor in the University of Marwa. There is Reverend Maurice Ta, who is a Reverend pastor of the Presbyterian Church. Is retired, but he has been working on this language for long. And there is Mr. Samson Agbo, who is here in Yaoundé. He is a teacher by profession, and I brought these people together. Since they are all speakers of Kenyan, I brought them together to work on this.
Okay, so I just want to know, how was work like? Was it easy working with these people that you just mentioned?
Well, you may well imagine that it wasn't easy.
Okay.
All these people don't live in Yaoundé.
Okay.
Of the 4 people, only 2 of us live in Yaoundé. One lives in Marwa, the other one lives in Manfi. Okay. So I had to be bringing these people together for about 15 times, so as to, for the various sessions and consolidation workshops.
Okay. The Kenyan-English, English-Kenyan Bilingual Dictionary represents a pioneering achievement. Does this actually make you proud?
Yeah, it makes me happy.
Okay.
I am happy. I may not be proud, but I am happy that I've done something which I wanted to do for long. 3 years ago, when I was launching a book, which was a collection of articles on Kenyan, the Kenyan language. This was done by university researchers. I was launching this book here in Yaoundé, and I promised the people who attended that launch that I was going to put in place this dictionary. Okay. And of course, I'm happy that it has been done, because I know that it's going to serve our people very well.
So what's the feedback that you're getting?
No, the feedback is wonderful.
Okay.
The feedback is wonderful. In Cameroon, already, I did not do a real book launch, as you can imagine. Okay. I did a book presentation. I presented to the community, and the reception was very, very good. Okay. The attendance was wonderful. And then, secondly, a lot of copies have gone abroad to the United States, and early next week, some copies are going to the UK for Europe. And so I think the demand is very, very high. Okay. And I'm very, very proud about the response.
It's good to know. We're going to take a first break on this show. So we have one of the persons who compiled, information for this book to be real, to be tangible. He is called Agbo Samson. This is his contribution to the program, The Book with Suzy, and as far as this book is concerned, the Kenyan-English, English-Kenyan Bilingual Dictionary. Let's watch.
The Kenyan language is spoken in Manu and Kupe-Manibu divisions of southwest region, Cameroon. The language has 3 dialects. The Kenyan spoken in Upper Bayang subdivision, Mafe Central and Imojok subdivisions, and areas west of Nguti subdivision. Called the one spoken in areas west of Nguti subdivision is called Kichwi. The variety that is adopted by Seal and Kapta is that which is spoken in Mafe Central and Imojok subdivisions for pedagogical purposes, literary publications, and Bible translations. Yes, beyond its lexical entries, we also have supplementary material. This supplementary material goes to add more elements to the Kenyan learners and speakers. And this includes the Kenyan counting system of money. We have proverbs and otherwise sayings. Yeah, what motivated the authors to compile this dictionary is simple. Nowadays in our country and Africa in general, most of our languages are facing threats of extinction, especially with the coming of social media and the world being becoming a global village. We can also talk of intercultural marriages. You know, when people marry from different cultures, they speak a common language which both of them will understand. And with the case of Cameroon, we have either French or English. And there the rate of speaking their various dialects is very limited. Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Agbo Samson, for that insight. Yes, I know a lot of people are motivated to get their own copies, either to learn the language, or share with loved ones. Okay, the moment, Prof, the moment I got this book, there is someone who approached me and said, Suzanne, Kenyan-English, Bilingual Dictionary, but this is something great. Now, the question he wanted me to ask you is to know the gap this Kenyan-English, English-Kenyan Bilingual Dictionary will fill in Cameroon's linguistic landscape.
Well, thank you. As far as the Cameroon linguistic landscape is concerned, it's going to fill a very, very big gap. The first thing is that it's going to serve as a source of motivation for other language. We have close to about 250 indigenous languages in our country. And most of these languages are not taught. Most of these languages are spoken more and more by very few people. And if we have to preserve these languages, we need to do works like this dictionary, so that, the languages can be preserved. So this is going to serve as a source of motivation for the other language groups, so that they too can come up with dictionaries, not only bilingual dictionaries, but monolingual dictionaries that are going to help to preserve the language. The second thing is that this dictionary is going to help those who want to learn the language and those who are involved in the teaching of the language to young people. Because very often, you know, these languages, like in the Ministry of Basic Education and even Secondary Education, you know, that they have approved the teaching of languages in schools. But very often, we don't have any didactic material to teach these languages. There are neither textbooks nor reference books like dictionaries to facilitate the teaching of these languages. You cannot teach a language without this, you know, some of this didactic material. So this is an important didactic material to help in the teaching of these languages. And even for us, some of us who feel that we are speakers of the language and we feel that our level is advanced. I mean, when you go to the dictionary, you realize that there are so many things you don't know.
No, that's very true.
You feel that probably feel that you knew them, but by going to the dictionary, you realize you did not know. And personally, I would say that we also learnt a lot while comparing this dictionary.
Okay. On language preservation and revitalization, which happens to be, you know, the main objective for producing this work. Prof, do you strongly believe a dictionary is crucial for protecting Kenyan from extinction?
It is very, very crucial. It is important. It is inevitable if we want to preserve the language. Because if you don't do that, at a certain time in life, there'll be nothing left. Nothing shows that language exists. More and more, most of our children now, even with the adults, we tend to speak English and French, and probably, you know, Cameroon Pidgin English. And we hardly speak our local languages, our mother tongues, because sometimes we are involved in families with mixed marriages, where the other partner may not know the language, may not be conversant with the language, and therefore most of the children don't even speak the language. We don't speak the language to them, and eventually it's going to die. So if we don't have things like this that can help them learn the language, that can serve as a document. You know, documents are very, very important in preserving things, in preserving culture. And so this is the case with the language. So it's very, very important for us.
Okay. Now, for people who do not speak the Kenyan language, why should they care about saving this language? Why should they care?
Well, they may not care about saving it, but it's going to inspire them to do the same kind of thing by sponsoring projects for their own language communities. And thereby, you know, saving these languages. If you can build monuments for your communities, big churches, you can also help in doing something, a project like this, that will help to save the language.
Okay, we are going to take our second break on this show, the Vox Pop. And of course, we ask this question: is speaking your mother tongue a necessity or an obligation? Why or why not? Let's watch.
I think it is a necessity. It is very necessary to know one's mother tongue because, first of all, it indicates where you are coming from. And you will see that there is always an affiliation from your background. And there are some times that you can be in a midst of people and you have a message to pass to one of your persons from the same place, but due to the fact that you cannot speak your mother tongue, it becomes difficult. So it is an identity which in the African culture it is always necessary to maintain. So speaking your mother tongue, to me, I think is a necessity.
Yeah, to me, speaking my mother tongue is a necessity as an African. As an African, speaking your mother tongue is like an identity, identifies you, it shows who you are. Because as an African man, if you don't have your roots, I think you are nothing to me. So I don't imagine somebody who doesn't speak the mother tongue as an African like to say he has an identity or she has an identity. Imagine somebody like me and someone who cannot speak Lam, so to me it's just like an abomination. So speaking your mother tongue is a necessity and to an extent an obligation for an African man.
Welcome back. I guess that you were thrilled by what people had to say about that. So If I may ask, Prof, is speaking our mother tongue a necessity or an obligation? What will you say?
It is not only a necessity, it is an obligation. Because if we don't speak our mother tongues, at a certain time we don't exist. You see, the mother tongue is the most powerful element of cultural preservation, which expresses our culture. And if we don't speak our mother tongues, we feel that we are lost. I've just realized something in recent years. For the past 10 years or so, you see, the Manu music expressed through Kenyang and Ejagam has become very, very popular in Cameroon. And I am always very, very happy to hear this music over CRTV and other networks, which I'm not going to call here.
Okay.
I'm always very happy to hear that almost every day in my office, when the radio is on, I listen to music of people like Maxime Manon.
Very enticing.
So I mean, feel happy. And our brothers and sisters, even those who are in the diaspora, you see them, they cannot organize occasions without this music. Presently, there is a musician who has been invited to Canada. He's presently in Canada. I think the name is Maxime Manon.
Yes.
Presently in Canada. And I mean, those our people in the diaspora, they even called me and asked me to send some copies of the book because I want to present it during that
festival
in Canada.
Yes.
So you see that our people are so excited about their culture.
Okay.
And they are excited about their language. And it's a source of pride, so you can understand.
Well, were there some Kenyan words or expressions you couldn't translate into English and vice versa?
Yes.
Can you give us an example?
There were Kenyan words I could not translate. We could not translate into English. Like, there is a word in Pidgin which they call. There's a word in Kenyan they call amoneu, which in Pidgin is handai.
Okay.
Amoneu, they say amoneu. In Pidgin it is translated handai.
Handai. Okay.
Handai. But you see, the British, whether it is British English or American English, there is no equivalent for handai.
Okay.
For that word which you call amoneu, it's a ceremony which is organized after somebody dies. A few days after, they organize that ceremony to put an end to the death celebration.
Okay.
And unfortunately, in these languages, whether it is British English or American English, we don't have that equivalent. So we could not translate that word amoneu, but we only use, at the end, we only try to explain it, to explain so that people can understand. Because not everything in language can be translated. When you go from one culture to another, there are different realities. There are so many things that don't exist in so I mean, those are the things about it.
Okay. Now, practically, how can this book be used in homes and cultural programs to revitalize the language among young Kenyan speakers?
Yes, we are glad that today, more and more, like presently, the Manu community in Yaoundé is organizing holiday classes to teach our children their mother tongues. And Kenyang is one of them. Ejagam is another one. And of course, this book, many parents, I remember about a week or so ago, they bought copies of this book. And I think they know that they have to use them with their children. And so it is a book that can serve you readily, personally, something you can, you go to the dictionary and you learn personally. It's not difficult at all.
Okay. Yeah, yes, because when, I don't know whether I'm going to pronounce this well.
Yeah.
Vehicle. How do they pronounce it? Achui?
Achui.
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 Okay, I just learned something on this show today. Well, Prof, let's take the last break, which is on the shelf, and we continue to have Mabel Foncham, who is a librarian expert. This time around, Mabel, we are finding from you how can libraries in under-resourced communities, especially here in Cameroon, adopt artificial intelligence without being left behind. What I tell people all the time is that
go for the basics, for the simplest. You don't have to adopt expensive technology. Go for free technology, what is accessible, what even fits your community. If I know that I'm working in a community where resources are limited and literacy levels vary, I will use tools that will permit people to access it faster. And basic free tools, we have a lot of free tools. For example, if I want to encourage reading in my community and I know that we don't have access to a lot of books, I will look for a tool that might give me access to reading resources that will fit into that community and their levels so that people can adapt and understand. So I advise everyone, please go in for basic technology. Do not start adopting very expensive or complicated technology. Use what fits your audience and what fits you.
Welcome back. We are soon going to draw the curtains on this edition of the program, but we need to ask Prof this question. What is the next for the project? Any plan for a revised version or digital version?
Yes, as we mentioned in the preface, in the introduction, you know, it is clear that a dictionary project is always a continuous project, ongoing project. And of course, we have not yet adopted the strategy, but we know that, you know, after every 2 or 3 years, this book is going to be revised. We'll publish a revised edition. And that is why we have appealed to both speakers of Kenyan and other people who are interested in the venture that, you know, if they come across words which they don't find in this dictionary, they just let us know so that we can take note and add them in the next edition. So we are doing, all of us are doing this job by, you know, every day you come across new entries, new words, and therefore we are taking note of them to make sure that we have continuous vision. So this thing is a lifelong project. It's not going to end because it has to continue.
That's very true. Now, there is a section for proverbs, okay?
Yes.
Can you give us your best proverb?
You know, the proverbs, there are so many. I'm going to give a proverb which is very common. Awamot apu good nekap. Awamot apu good nekap.
Okay, which means?
It means that one hand cannot tie a bundle.
Oh, okay.
So you see, this knowledge which is universal is clearly expressed in Kenyan too.
Okay.
It's universal knowledge.
Okay.
You know that you cannot take, if you cannot take one hand and tie a bundle, you necessarily need, you know, the 2 hands.
2 hands.
And it is the equivalent in English of many hands do light work. For example, many hands do light work.
Okay, so tell us, how do people get in contact with you so as to get their own copies?
Yeah, there is Mr. Agbo Samson, one of the co-authors of the work, Mr. Agbo Samson. His phone number is 677-717281. And we are also trying to ensure that in the weeks ahead, this dictionary should be available in some major bookshops in the country. Yes.
And is it affordable?
It's quite affordable. The price is very modest, 7,500 francs.
Ah, okay. Okay. Well, it was a delight having you on this program today. You know, I have just learned one thing. What did you say again? Actually?
Actually.
Actually, that's a vehicle. I'm going to get myself actually.
Yes.
Thank you, Prof, for coming.
I'm going to buy a vehicle.
Okay. Okay. No, that one, I don't want to bite my tongue. Thank you for coming, Prof.
It was a pleasure.
It was a pleasure having you glued to your screens in order to watch this edition of The Book with Suzy. Wednesday is another day. Stay blessed.